Hello, fifth graders. People have been asking me, well, Father, what are you doing during your time of quarantine? And one of the things I've been doing is making a couple of videos each day for parishioners. Sometimes they're meditations on the gospel or the first reading from Mass. But someone asked me then, well, Father, could you do a video for children? And so that's sort of how the Ask Father project was born. We invited people to ask me questions. And from the fifth grade, Ryan Dickman asked this question. Yes, is it hard to say Mass with nobody there? Maybe for some priests, but for me, no. I mean, it's sad to see an empty church, and it's strange to go out and to see an empty church each day. But I'm never alone at church. That is, at every Mass, heaven and earth are joined together. So I know that the angels and saints are there with me. Mary, the great Mother of God, is there in heaven praying for me. And when I say the words of consecration over the bread and wine, they become the body and blood of Christ. And there Jesus is upon the altar. And I see him, and I begin to smile, and he looks back at me, and my smile gets wider. And then I receive him into my soul, and then at communion, and my smile gets even wider. So it can be challenging at times, especially to preach to an empty church, but you get used to it. But for me, actually, I spent a lot of my priesthood in different places, 4 years studying in Rome, and then almost 4 years working at the Vatican Embassy. In both those cases, I never said Mass in a parish or in public. We said Mass on our own, by ourselves, without a congregation. And so I'm sort of used to it. I spent a lot of my time doing that. But it's less than ideal. You always like to have people there. And so I can't wait till we all can be back in church again. We hope that we'll be back in church by May 30th and 31st, but we'll wait and see. We might not all be able to come back at the same time, but little by little we'll build back up. So is it hard? At times, but you get used to it. Ava asked, can God heal all the people who are sick during the coronavirus? And the answer to that question is, yes, God can heal all the people who are sick during the coronavirus. God is all-powerful. He can do anything he wants. When we were children, we used to ask, could God make a rock so heavy that even God couldn't lift it? It was kind of a trick question. But God can heal everyone who is sick. He has the power to do so. But sometimes God permits sickness. Sometimes God permits suffering. We unite our sufferings to those of Christ. Sometimes God permits certain things to happen in our life, sickness and so on, that aren't great, to test our faith. Sometimes we receive healing, but not in the way in which we want it. Sometimes we want physical healing. But what happens is God gives us interior healing and forgiveness of our sins. God offers us not just physical healing, but something more. He offers us salvation. God also works through a lot of different people to bring his healing to others, through doctors and nurses, through priests to bring spiritual healing, and so on. Sometimes God calls us to bring healing to the lonely by making cards for them, by comforting them, by praying for them. We can all do our part to bring healing in this world. St. Thomas Aquinas says, God delights when his creatures participate in his plan for our salvation. Anyway, thanks for your questions. I wish there were more, but have a great day and know that I'm thinking of you and praying for you. God bless you. Bye-bye.